On his way to a Hall of Fame ending to his career. The referee gambling scandal has rocked the NBA this week and shaken the fans' confidence in the game and sports in general. We're left wondering what's real and what's not real anymore. NBA Commissioner David Stern said yesterday the investigation into ref Tim Donaghy is an isolated incident, a case of one rogue employee and not a larger gambling conspiracy. And we want to know how much one ref can really affect the outcome of a game and if we should be concerned that more game rigging actually goes on than we think. And for more on this, we want to welcome in Brandon Lang, the best big game handicapper in the country. And hopefully you can shed some light on this subject. Brandon, thanks for joining us. First, explain for us layman, I guess, in the gambling world, how exactly a crooked referee can affect an NBA game, especially if it's just one guy in the game that has obviously more than one ref.
To the general sports fan, they would think it could be quite complicated, but to a handicapper who understands how you manipulate a point spread or an over-under for that matter, it can be quite easy. You're dealing with a ref here who was #1 with technical fouls, and he was in the top 3 with most personal fouls, fouling players out, and getting players to the free throw line. I'll give you a game right off the bat. It was Game 3 of the Spurs and the Suns in Round 2 of the NBA semifinals. And this was a game where Amari Stoudemire of the Suns was whistled for 2 quick fouls in the contest. He, of course, set him down. Donaghy was the official that called those 2 quick fouls on Stoudemire. Therefore, the Spurs were able to take a 9-point lead, and they maintained that lead pretty much the entire game, never got ahead by less than 6 points. The point spread was 4. And in that contest, Stoudemire played 22 minutes. You get an early superstar in foul trouble. You pick him up 2 in the first quarter. He sets down for the rest of the half. Early third quarter, if he picks up his 4th, he doesn't play till the 4th quarter. You're able to manipulate that as well as getting players to the free throw line late in a ball game. It can be pretty easy to manipulate a game.
Brandon, this is John Chris from Bear Report Magazine. The city of Las Vegas has generated a lot of chatter lately about a professional sports franchise, a major sports franchise, potentially moving to that city and calling it its new home. Do you think that this story breaking the way it has could potentially move that to the back burner? And who knows, maybe say it never happens now.
I personally think it's on the back burner until our government gets with the program and legalizes sports betting. Alcohol didn't work with prohibition. They legalized it, they taxed it, they monitored it. We don't have a problem there. If our government would legalize sports betting, they could police it, they could monitor it, they could control it, and if they taxed it, last year they would have made $6 billion in taxes if wagering on sports was legal. Problem with what happened here was he was wagering illegally with a corner store bookie. And you can't monitor that. Understand bookmakers set their own line. Yes, they'll use Vegas as a guideline as to what that line can be, but other than that, they call their own shots. And basically, I think when it all comes out, you're going to see that this guy wagered on football to start the 2005 season. He got down big to the wrong people, and then his only way out was, of course, to fix or shave points to get victories and pay these people back. Until gambling and betting on sports is legal, I doubt you'll ever see a team in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hi, Brandon. Fred Mitchell from the Chicago Tribune. You know, when we talk to athletes in any sport, whether it's baseball, you're talking about the umpires, or basketball, they ask for consistency. You know, if a basketball official is calling close fouls, close contact fouls early in the game and maintains that, then they understand what the rules are. When you're looking for, you know, some inconsistencies and perhaps an official rigging a game, would that be one aspect that you would look at?
Oh, you better believe it. I give you another game. February 26th at Madison Square Garden, I had the Miami Heat plus 4.5. That means that the Heat can't lose by any more than 4 points for my clients to win. In that contest, Shaquille O'Neal was whistled for 2 fouls very early in the contest. In that game, the Knicks shot 39 free throws. The Heat shot 8, a difference of 31 free throws. And that game came down to 8 seconds to go. Knicks up 4. Donaghy called a foul on the Heat. Jamal Crawford hit 2 free throws. Knicks won by 6, covering the 4.5. You're absolutely correct in your assessment that you can call a game loosely with no calls, or you can call it tight and foul people out and control the game. Absolutely, officials have been in control of that.
Hey, Brandon, it's Ed Sherman from the Chicago Tribune. Are you surprised that the other officials didn't notice something strange was going on? Because I've heard a few of them say they didn't really pick up on anything.
See, that's another great question, because they want us to believe that they were naive to the fact that their pro officials, one of their own questionable calls right in front of them, and they don't notice something's wrong? You mean to tell me those two officials walking off the floor in New York with a discrepancy of 31 free throws weren't shaking their head and suspecting or wondering what was going on? I completely disagree from the standpoint that they had to know what's going on, or at least been skeptical of it. But the problem is, this guy's your brother. He's your brotherhood. He's part of a fraternity. And if you blow the whistle on him, you're almost looked at as bad as he is. So you keep your mouth shut, you move forward, and you take the stance that you never knew about it. Because if you admit that you did, you're almost in the same boat as him. I think the paper trail is going to be the key here, everybody. Once that paper trail gets revealed and you find out who's involved, because this guy's going to sing. Let's not lose sight of that. He's hired a former prosecutor who has handled whistleblower cases. He's going to sing like a bird. I'm anxious to see where that paper trail leads.
And so, Brandon, that leads me to ask you, in your opinion, David Stern said this was one rogue employee. If we come to find out maybe others are involved, you said you actually called this happening maybe a year ago, that you could foresee how this would happen in the NBA. Are there more referees, in your opinion, doing stuff like this?
This is the first guy that's been caught. I've said for years that I've watched games and seen questionable calls, that I've turned off my TV knowing what the point spread was or the over-under was, and I was like, wow, that was very, very suspicious. But if I howl at the moon about it, people think because I lost the game, I'm whining and I have sour grapes. This has come forefront to where if other officials, I believe, have been involved in the past, I believe salaries were nowhere near what they were supposed to for officials in the 60s and the 70s and possibly the 80s. And I'm going to tell you something. He's the first guy to get caught with his hand in the cookie jar. And if other guys didn't cross their T's and dot their I's, they're going down with him. And it would not surprise me in the least bit if a couple other guys are involved. It's just a matter if they left a trail to themselves.
All right, certainly has shaken up the integrity of the NBA right now. Brandon Lang, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, gang. See you football season.
Absolutely. All right, and we'll be back to wrap up today's edition of Chicago Tribune Live after this final timeout.